Welcome to the assignment on absolute value inequalities. Thanks for choosing the challenge if that was the best choice for you. Glad you're here. We're going to start, before we get into absolute value inequalities, we're going to start here in question 1 with just a quick review of absolute value equations, which you did a couple weeks ago, because it's important that you have that fresh in your mind. So that's what we're going to do in this video. And then you'll have a chance to just practice those a little bit, and then we'll get into inequalities. Okay, so if you remember, absolute value equation looks something like this. And remember that the solution to an equation is the value of the variable. So the question is, what could x be that would make the absolute value of x equal to 8? And what we hopefully remember is that, well, x could be 8, right? Because the absolute value of 8 is 8. But x could also be negative 8, because if I plug in negative 8 here and I take the absolute value, that would also become 8. So we wrote the solution like this. X equals, first the smaller value, comma, the larger value. Okay, so it looks like that. So that was the solution here. And then we just got slowly a little bit more complicated right here. The absolute value wasn't yet isolated, so I had to get the absolute value by itself. And then again, I have a situation very similar to this, where what number could I plug in here that would make the absolute value 2? Well, it could be a negative 2, or it could be a positive 2. Okay, and then we even got a little bit more tricky. With something like this. And here, the absolute value of whatever's in here is 11. So whatever's inside these absolute value signs is either equal to 11. That's one possibility. But the other possibility is that it's equal to negative 11, right? That all of this actually adds up to negative 11, and then we take the absolute value, and that's when it becomes positive 11. So those are your two possibilities. Right? So what we see is that whenever we get to the point where we have the absolute value by itself on one side of the equation, that's when it splits into two equations. Right here, we actually have the absolute value by itself. There's nothing on the outside of it, and we split. Here we split right away into two solutions. Here, we actually didn't split right away. We waited till we had the absolute value by itself. Okay, and then here we just solve. So here p was equal to 3, or p could also have been equal to negative 8, right? And then we always put the smaller solution first, always, always. So which in this case is negative 8, comma, a space, and 3. Okay. And then just one more example to review, because we did see one problem that was even a little bit more complicated. But this is kind of just a combination of all of the ones that we've already reviewed. Okay, so watch, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to get this by itself, right? I want that x plus 10, that absolute value of x plus 10, I want it by itself. So I'm going to first do what I would always do. Right here I have subtraction, I have multiplication. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. This is negative 2 times the absolute value of x plus 10 equals, this is negative 4. And then this negative 2 is being multiplied, so I'm going to divide by negative 2. And I get the absolute value of x plus 10 equals 2. And now I say, well, the only way that the absolute value of something could equal 2 is if it's either already equal to 2, whatever's inside the absolute value is already equal to 2, or whatever's inside the absolute value sign could be equal to negative 2. Either way, I'm going to solve. I get x equals negative 8. Oops. And x equals negative 12. And here, put the answers in order from least to greatest. Negative 12 is a smaller number than negative 8, right? With negative numbers, it's kind of in reverse. This is like 12 feet in a hole. This is 8 feet in a hole. Which one's higher? The 8 feet, right? The 8 feet is going to be 4 feet above that person 12 feet down in a hole. Right? So those are just some examples. And now, right here below this, Oh, sorry, I'm just adjusting my camera here. Below this, you're just going to write practice problems 2 through 6. Okay, so the next 5 questions are just going to be review of absolute value equations before we get into absolute value inequalities.